Jessii Vee, and as you can tell by the title of today's video, I am going to be talking about Blockbuster, and this video is just so emotional for me because I used to love Blockbuster. Like, it was my whole entire world and childhood, to be specific. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you guys some very creepy stories surrounding it, weird things that have been found lurking in Blockbusters. I even have a creepy experience to tell you guys. And can we just have a moment of silence for Blockbusters? Rest in peace, Blockbuster. Alright guys, before I get started, I just want to let you know that we have so many cute new socks on our website. I love wearing like weird, strange socks everywhere. So right now we have some pizza socks, we have some alien abduction socks. We also have these really pretty black and white rose liner socks. So these are socks that you would wear in like flats and like shoes and sandals where you don't want your socks to be seen, but you still want to be comfortable. So I will put the links to our new socks down below in the description. Alright guys, so we're just gonna jump right into today's video. So before there was Netflix or Crave or Amazon Prime, there was Blockbuster. It was the place that you would go to rent the newest movie. There were no apps where you could sit at home and play a movie on demand. You had to actually get off your butt and physically walk into a store to rent one off the shelf. It was basically like a library for movies, if that makes sense. And then you had to go and return your movie within a certain amount of days. Now my parents would take my sister and I to Blockbuster like every single Friday night, and we would just like walk through the aisles and pick out any movie that we wanted, and then we were both allowed to pick a snack before we checked out. Like guys, I was even going to Blockbuster back when they had VHS tapes on the shelves for us to pick from. Do any of you guys even know what those are anymore? It's so crazy to think back to my childhood because there were literally Blockbusters everywhere, like multiple per town. You would be driving along the road and constantly see them everywhere. Because like I said, it was one of the only places where you could actually go and rent a new movie. Now in 2010, the rental company filed for bankruptcy after Netflix's popularity continued to grow, and it was honestly the saddest day for me when I saw all the closing soon signs on the Blockbuster stores that I had gone to all my life. And it's crazy making this video because I feel like a lot of you watching probably have never been to a Blockbuster or even really know what Blockbuster is. Like specifically, obviously, if you're like one of my younger viewers, if you're my age or older, you know Blockbuster. We know. And it's so sad that you guys won't be able to have that experience. Things are just so easily accessible now, and I feel like it takes the fun out of it, you know? You no longer get to have a fun outing with your friends and family to like go and pick a movie. Like that experience was what I loved more than watching the movie itself, if that makes sense. Okay, so before I get into some really creepy legends and creepypastas, let's talk about my creepy experience, which I have briefly mentioned on this channel probably years and years ago. So back in the Blockbuster days, you would walk through the aisles looking at all the DVD covers, and when you found one you liked, you wouldn't actually take the real DVD cover home. You'd reach behind it and take a case with the Blockbuster logo on the front, but the real disc would be inside of it. Does that make sense? Well, because of this, many people would accidentally take home the wrong movies because they would often get mixed up, and this actually happened to me when I was little. Now, I'm gonna guess this was back in like 2003, maybe 2002. My dad took my sister and I to pick out a movie, and we both agreed on watching Sailor Moon. Well, when we got home and went to play the movie, it ended up being this really creepy werewolf Goosebumps movie, or at least I think it was Goosebumps. It was something like that, but it was a creepy horror werewolf film. Now, I was probably around 8 years old at the time. My sister would have been like around 5. So obviously the horror genre was not something that we loved yet. But my dad, who didn't realize how scared we would get, decided to play the movie anyways. I mean, he literally rented it for us, so he might as well play it, get his money's worth, you know? So we did, and my goodness, I still remember the fear I had while watching this, and especially afterwards, I had nightmares for years. I could not get the image of this creepy man transforming into a werewolf out of my head. And like back then, they did like all practical effects and stuff, which is somehow scarier because it's like this dude in a creepy like long-toothed werewolf costume. No. And yeah, it was like this movie where this creepy beast was like stalking people in their homes and in their barns out in the backyard, and it was weird. So like that that's like a scary memory that I have from Blockbuster, which probably isn't scary to everyone, but it was for me. Okay, so let's talk about the story about the haunted Blockbuster. I found this story from an old Blockbuster employee that claimed to have worked at a very haunted Blockbuster back in the late 90s. She said that the activity would only really happen after closing time, and it was something that all the employees in the store kept secret from the public. They would only talk about their experiences among themselves, but they would never make it known to the customers, obviously. Apparently, employees would see this see-through figure of a woman lingering at the very back of the store, just staring at one of the shelves, almost as if she was standing there trying to pick out a movie. Now, coincidentally, she would always be near the horror movies whenever they saw her. And when people would walk up to her to find out what she was or who she was and why she was lingering there after closing time, she would quickly grab onto a DVD and disappear inside of it. Because this happened for years and years, she became known as the Blockbuster apparition and was said to travel from movie to movie, and you never knew if you would be the one renting the one she currently resided in. They said that if you took her home, her reflection would appear in your TV screen as you were watching the movie that you picked out. But some people also said that the VHS or DVD would start vibrating and emitting a strange sound after midnight. The really creepy thing is the employees of this Blockbuster said that it was possible for her to be residing in more than one movie at once, because there was this one evening where 3 of the employees took home movie rentals to watch on like a Friday night, and all 3 of them said that they saw her reflection in their TV screens that night. So the question that people have is this just the only store where this ghost is hanging out, or is she in every single Blockbuster and like makes her way around to all of the movies? That is the question. And then lastly, we have a story called The Scratched DVD. There is another strange story about a family that rented a movie from Blockbuster, and when they took it home and removed it from the case, they saw that it was scratched, which is like the most frustrating thing ever to happen. Well, they still decided to try and play the DVD as they didn't want to drive all the way back to the store late at night, and things seemed pretty normal in the first like 20 minutes or so, but soon after the DVD began skipping, which, you know, is obviously what happens when you have scratches on the surface of it. But the creepiest thing was it was scratching on this scene where there was a close-up of the main character talking, and it seemed to skip over every 4th or 5th word, and they immediately got goosebumps at the sentences these words were forming. It was saying, "I am here in this room. I am here in this room," over and over again. Like it would say those words as it was skipping and then like replay that exact sentence. So you can imagine those poor kids in the room with their parents screaming and crying at how creepy and strange this was, and I really wish it said which movie they were watching because I really want to know. But yeah, those are the creepy stories I was able to find about Blockbuster. Obviously these are like creepypastas, legends, I don't know how true they are, but I did go onto eBay and I bought a super old Blockbuster VHS tape, probably from like the mid-90s. So when that comes in the mail, maybe we'll see what happens after midnight. Anyway, so guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!